Hey guys, welcome back to Slept On. This is Ed from VinylAlbumCovers.com, and you know what this is about, don't you? If you've been keeping up, Slept On is about songs that you might have missed the first time around. And as was the case last time, we're not going to talk about an artist that you might have slept on. I've done that already. And we're not going to talk about an album that you might have slept on. I've done that too. But this particular instance, just as was the case with the Four Tops, you didn't sleep on the artist and you didn't sleep on the album, but you might have slept on this song. So I wanted to give some attention to it. Now, in truth, when it comes to this record, there are a couple of songs that you could have slept on. Two songs in particular, I think, that are of the songs on the album, I think these are two of the best. And neither of them was released as a single, and I'm not sure why, because I think both of them are better than most of what was released as singles. And that's not to say that the songs that were released as singles off the Dru Hill album are bad. They're not. They're really good songs. But these two are even better. And even as I sit here right now, I'm kind of like, I'm struggling about which one to talk about. Do I talk about So Special, or do I talk about April Showers? I'm going April Showers. Let's talk April Showers. I do love So Special. You need to go listen to that. It's such an incredible song. It was the first song, actually, that really got my attention from Dru Hill, much more so even than the singles did. But let's talk a bit about April Showers. So April Showers was actually written entirely within the group. It was written by Nokio and Jazz, along with Woody. So the three of them wrote it together, and they produced it with Haq Islam. Nokio did, anyway, with Haq, who produced a lot of the record and is an executive producer. He's, I believe he was the head of University Entertainment, which was the sub-label that actually signed them to Island Records way back in the day, back in 1995, 1996. I think they were signed in 95, and the record came out in 96. Anyway, Angel is just, not Angel, Angel is such a good song. That's off the next record too. See, there are so many things that you might have missed from Dru Hill. I love Dru Hill, in case you can't tell. I can quote you chapter and verse on Dru Hill with no problem, especially those first two records. Like, my gosh, the amount of fire they gave us. But yes, April Showers. Get back on topic, Ed. Stop it. There is, I gotta tell you, like, there is something about Woody's voice that just feels so much like home. You know what I mean? Like, I don't quite understand it, but there's this intangible thing, this warmth, this soul, if you will. There's just something about the tone of his voice and his phrasing that just feels so good. Like, of all of the voices in Dru Hill, all of them, his has always been my favorite. His is the one that I feel the most. Yeah, his is the one I identify with the most. The one that feels most like home to me. And there's just, again, it's just, I'm not sure why. There's something that's so incredibly warm and cozy about his voice. Even if you go to like the beginning of like 5 Steps, there's just something about the way he phrases it, and it feels just amazing. All I can do is throw adjectives at it because I don't really understand it. I don't understand why I love it so much, but it's just, what an incredible voice. And it's almost like you get the sense of the kind of person he is based on the way he phrases and the way he sounds. If you've heard his voice, you know what I mean. I'm not getting this across very well. I'm trying to, but sometimes when you talk about voices that are that good, and it's not like he has this incredible range, he doesn't. It's not like his voice is incredibly powerful or incredibly technical. Neither of those things is the case. But that doesn't always matter, you know. I mean, there are incredibly technical voices out there. Like Tevin Campbell has one of the most technically capable voices ever. El DeBarge, who we talked about, very technically capable voice. But there's something to be said about the warmth and the feeling and the soul in a voice. And I always felt like that was more important than a voice that is like 5 octaves, or that's hyperbolic, or a voice that's like, 3.5 octaves, or over, 4 octaves, or whatever. And there are plenty of guys who have voices that do that. Woody is not one of those voices, and it just doesn't matter. He still has one of the most incredible voices I've ever heard. More to the point, one of the most incredible voices I've ever felt, and boy, does it come out here. April Showers is an amazing song, just as it stands. And it's not only is it perfectly sung, that background vocal arrangement by Sisqó is incredible. It's all it needs to be, but it never gets in the way. A lot of times when you hear background vocal arrangements that are done by lead singers, like Sisqó is, those vocal arrangements tend to step on the lead, or they'll do things that kind of try to get the attention, and it's unintentional, but it happens a lot with lead singers. And I find it very interesting that in spite of the fact that Sisqó has led most of the songs in the Dru Hill catalog, that when it came time to do a vocal arrangement, he knew how to get out of the way and stay out of the way, and just put these little flowery things in, all the while not grabbing any attention away from Woody. So kudos to Sisqó for that, for sure. The keyboard playing is by Kim Jordan. You know who Kim Jordan is. She wrote and produced We Must Be in Love for Pure Soul a year earlier, I think a little less than a year earlier, which was Pure Soul's biggest hit. And it was so, that song itself should be talked about. That should be its own, it should get its own spotlight and its own flowers. But you did pay attention to that song and you didn't sleep, so it doesn't fit here. But it was such a unique sounding song for that time, and nobody was looking for it. And because it was so different, it got people's attention, and not even just on the R&B side of things, but it crossed over a little bit pop. And a lot of that had to do with the voices, of course, but it had a lot to do with the song itself, a lot, because it was so different from everything else out there. And we know this is true because they followed it up with the Teddy Riley produced I Want You Back, which didn't get anywhere near as much attention. And then there was another song, The Stairway to Heaven, the cover of the OJ's thing, as they kind of tried to walk it back to kind of more of a soul thing. And that sort of worked and sort of didn't, and then they just kind of vanished. So the song that really got people's attention was We Must Be in Love, which was written and produced and played and essentially performed almost entirely from a musical perspective by Kim Jordan. And so she's playing on quite a bit of April Showers. If that entire track isn't hers, with the exception of maybe the drum programming, I'll be surprised. But Kim is such a great player. And you can hear moments like in the second chorus where she kind of gives in to jazz chords, because she doesn't want to play by the rules, and she gives in to these little jazz voicings that I think are really cool. And the production is just absolutely fantastic. The producers were smart to let her do that. Just let her do what she does. She's brilliant. She's a brilliant player. And so you end up with this incredible song, and you, in spite of the fact that Woody is so brilliant singing on it, you notice these little changes in the voicings in the second chorus that just ear candy. She's so good at that kind of thing. There's plenty of that ear candy in We Must Be in Love and other things she's done, and we end up with some of that in Angel. So it's really, really cool. But the star of the show, in spite of all of that, and Kim knows it too, like, even though she's, playing her face off in the back, she doesn't get in Woody's way. Nobody gets in Woody's way. And to be quite honest with you, even if they wanted to, they couldn't have. There's a sensitivity and a simplicity and a beauty and a warmth and a coziness in his vocal, as I've said already about 4 or 5 times, that nobody else could have mastered. Like, nobody else should sing that song. I mean, you couldn't have given that to Sisqo and gone, you sing it. Like, it wouldn't have worked. Or Jazz, for as great as he is. He has a phenomenal voice. Boy, is he underrated. He did an amazing job on Never Make a Promise. Just amazing. And nobody else should have done that either. That was just his all day. I'd love to hear the solo record he made that's on the shelf at Def Soul, but that wouldn't have been right for him. It wouldn't have been right for anybody else. Like, it had to be Woody, and Woody just delivered. I mean, he sells it. It's just, that sentiment is just gorgeous coming from him, and the ad-libs at the end, my gosh, like, I love you, I need you, you're my heart and soul, so don't you ever go away. I can't do it justice. Those are the notes, but I can't do it justice. There's just something about the way it's so delicious. It's so good, and it feels so good. He's just an amazing vocalist, and I hate that he's not in Dru Hill anymore. Because there's something, he really did bring something special, not just in terms of even lead, but you could feel him in the backgrounds too. He lent a real warmth that isn't there anymore. And for as great as they are now, and believe me, they still have the goods, it isn't the same anymore. Something did change when he left the group. Both times he left the group. And apparently he's laying really low at this point. It's a shame, because that voice should be heard, like, as often as possible. Like, the government should be paying him to record songs, just to put that voice into the world. It should not be buried, ever. It should not be working another job, or it should always be out there. And you can look on YouTube. There's a fairly recent clip of him singing this song, and he still has it. That warmth and all of it is still there. His voice is a little bit heavier because he's my age, but it's still there. It's still there. And if you listen to interviews that he does, there's a real warmth to him. So the quality of his voice speaks to him as a human being, and you can really hear it. Anyway, I am talking and talking and talking because I can't recommend this song highly enough. If you haven't heard it, it's on an album with a lot of singles. Like, Sleeping in My Bed is there. 5 Steps is there. It's just, Never Make a Promise is there. And that record sold for a reason, and the album cuts are totally worth listening to. And certainly this one, I think, above all of them, although it's real close with this and so special. And Woody actually has a part of that too. Like, I think it's the 3rd verse in, he's doing part of it. Sounds amazing, just amazing. But April Showers, darn it, stay there. Go listen to it. Go listen to that song if you've never heard it before, and you have even a passing interest in Dru Hill. It will make you a fan of the group. I'll go that far. So just phenomenal song with an incredible vocal on it. Highly recommended if you haven't heard it. So that's April Showers by Dru Hill, featuring Woody Rock on the Dru Hill album, self-titled, from 1996 on Island Records. Go listen, and listen some more. You will love it, I promise. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Slept On. I appreciate it. I appreciate the response that it's getting. We're working our way up here, and I'll keep putting out content. If you like this video, Please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel. As you can tell, the channel's really come alive lately. So I'm gonna keep doing videos and keep bringing you content. Hopefully you enjoyed that content. If you'd like to make suggestions on something else you'd like to hear about, put that in the comment section. If you want to talk about the song, put it in the comment section. If you say anything in the comment section, I'll respond to it. I would love to get a dialogue going about music. Any music at any time, really. I'm cool with it. So please, by all means, down there, hook me up down there. And definitely subscribe to the channel. There's always more content coming, and there's something very, very special for the brand of vinylalbumcovers.com coming really, really soon. It's just days away, I promise. But I didn't want to sleep on the content, so I thought content was more important than finishing that off. But anyway, again, truly, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I love hearing from other music fans too, so let me know your comments underneath. Subscribe to the channel, like, follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter. That's where I am mostly, vinylalbumcovers.com without the U. I'm also starting to post on the gram. I finally figured out what to do with that. That'll kind of be behind the scenes things. And we have a Facebook page too, Vinyl Album Covers. So go there too. I put all that stuff over there. I'm active on all the social networks. So anyway, that's going to do it for this one, and we'll see you on the next one. And more to the point, keep listening to great music. Bye.